video on something I just want to have a quick faff around with. So I was chatting with a friend and he was planning something, and like a bit of a tasting type of thing, and I kind of for customers, and I kind of said, well, we kind of talked it through, and then we were talking about maybe adding a bit of drama to it, and I was kind of thinking, well, like maybe melting the cheese with a blowtorch in front of customers, because they kind of like that type of thing. So I was just kind of curious, and then I was curious about that, and then I was curious about melting mozzarella with a blowtorch. So got a blowtorch. It's a Pop Plumber's one. It's really good for doing creme brulees. It costs they're not cheap, but it saves you faffing around. So, and then we've got a cheap mozzarella from the supermarket, like the cheapest ones that you can buy, and then a more expensive one. So that's a proper buffalo mozzarella from my mate the cheesemonger. So we're going to have a go at melting them, and then we'll have a taste as well. So it'll be a bit of a comparison with taste and melting, and if we can actually do it with a blowtorch out of interest. So it doesn't want to be too severe. So it's like that. So that's full whack. That's not so severe. So let's see what happens. The idea is to melt it rather than burn it. So that might be a little bit too high. But I'm just curious. And well, so we use the cheap one first, and then we don't bother about ruining it if anything kind of happens. It's obviously getting that flame on the right kind of part of it as well. But it beats putting it underneath the grill, doesn't it? Although we call it a grill, it's not a grill, it's salamanders. Salamanders, the heat comes from the top, and grills, the heat comes from the bottom. And I think it's a broiler. The heat comes from both top and bottom, I think. So that's kind of doing it, isn't it? One wants to be a bit further away. Or not so much a severe blowtorch. It's kind of looking a bit like a marshmallow. Terrible waste of gas. Could be doing some plumbing work with that, so that's okay. So let's see how this one does. The cheap one will be made from cow's milk, or a mixture of any kind of milk, but the buffalo one will be actually proper buffalo milk from buffaloes. So the cheap one, it won't kind of guarantee where the milk's kind of come from, but it will be milk from anywhere, probably just a cow. Might have a little bit of buffalo in it. It might be, I always kind of think that, you know, the cheaper stuff doesn't necessarily mean that it's made from the cheaper ingredients or made in a different way. It can be things that are rejected, you know. So that's colouring differently, isn't it? You know, they've just got the hang of it. But that's interesting, isn't it? I don't know why it's doing that differently. I don't know why at all. There will be a reason. But it's certainly not blackening the same way. There seems to be a movement towards blackening things and using vegetable ash and all that kind of stuff. So we're allowed to blacken things these days. Whereas I used to get told off for it. That's interesting, isn't it? That it's not caramelising stroke burning in the same way. There's got to be a reason for it. I don't know what the reason is, but the expensive one is certainly a lot more forgiving than the cheaper one. Is it making it? Is it? Because it's cold? No. No. It's just wanting to caramelise in a different way. Smells a bit barbecuey. So, that was interesting, wasn't it? Let's give it a taste. Let's have a knife. So, yeah, texture-wise, there's a world of difference with those two. A world of difference. Caramelising on the top's interesting. Let's cut the bottom off. So the problem with that is that it's not going to melt all the way through because of, it's just too thick, kind of to melt it with the blowtorch. Let's cut the bottom off and then we'll remelt the bottom, and then we'll kind of see what kind of happens. Right, I need to get rid of that. I'll just get rid of the whey. Hang on. Right, I've got rid of the whey, so let's just have a go at this and see what happens when it's more of a flatter shape. Lots of whey wants to come out of that, doesn't it? I mean, so using that on a pizza, that's not gonna turn out well at all, is it? That's just gonna ooze out a load of whey and make the soggy pizza. So how does that one do? I mean, it's generally the hard mozzarella that you put on a pizza, but you don't want the whey to come out and make the pizza soggy. So That's the way he wants to come out of that one. So that's interesting, isn't it? So that's going to be no good for a pizza because it will just make it soggy. How does it taste though? Pretty nice actually. And this one. I don't know what to make of that. I want to say that the cheaper ones held up better. It, like the expensive one, just kind of wants to expand in your mouth. Whereas the cheap one, you can cut through it with your teeth. Whereas the expensive one just kind of wants to mush around your mouth. Like, so I don't have a problem eating oysters, but some people have a problem eating oysters, and they kind of eat, like, chew twice and then swallow. But for some people they can't, and I think they'd have the same problem with that more expensive mozzarella. So anyway, it was just out of interest, just out of curiosity, and we've learnt a bit of something, haven't we? We've learnt that lots of whey comes out of the more expensive mozzarella, and if we're going to do, so we wouldn't want to put it on a pizza, and the cheaper one kind of has a better, it eats better if we're going to do something like that with it. So interesting. Yeah, so we have learned something, so it is a success, but I don't know what kind of any use that information is. So not a success.